this meeting to order for the purpose of a work session. My computer isn't up yet, so I'll have to wait a minute.
So sorry. So sorry.
Our public, I do know our public comment has been moved to our board meeting, and then the first, and if I remember right, the first thing is,
PCCS,
it's what?
the PCCS presentation.
PCCS. Yes, so, welcome.
I'm going to go ahead and go first. Is that
Please
okay?
do.
All right. Brought my readers this time. Hello, my name is Ollie Flores. For those that don't know me, I am the business manager at Pocatello Community Charter School, and this is my 19th year in that role. I am here to present our fiscal year 25 financial audit. We ended our year with a balance of $1,478,000. That was an increase of $172,000 from fiscal year 24. The increase was greatly due to the higher interest rates that we are earning from our money market account. And then I also always like to note our school board has a reserve fund that we add to every year, and currently in that reserve fund we have $463,191, and that's reserved for future unknown expenses. So good things that happened last year. One was we were able to send all of our middle school students to Henry's Place in Utah for a week. This took place instead of sending our students to Teton Science School for the week. This was a huge savings for our school. The cost to send all students to the Henry's Place in Utah per student per week for the week, which included lodging and food and activities, was $198 versus what Teton Science School, their price was $598. So it was a huge savings, and we were able to fund that trip doing fundraisers, and I wrote a grant and things like that.
$598, not including transportation and all.
Not including the transportation, correct. We were able to update our kitchen in our school. We put in new floors, new metal shelving, and a new oven. A big thing that we did last year is we purchased a modular building, and it is a used modular building, and we got it at a really great deal. There's been some expenses, obviously, that have come along with that, and that we'll be looking at this year. We were also able to pay our contracted employees a retention bonus. We give a retention bonus of $2,000 for all returning employees. We were not sure if we were going to be able to do that last year, and we were able to do that. Currently, for this year, good things that are happening is we have added additional staffing in our special education department. The modular building, like I talked about, that is in the works right now. The PTO has raised significant funds to furnish this building, so it's not really costing the school money for that part of it. I also was able to increase our contracted salaries by 5%, and all of our classes are filled, so we are a full school. The current year concerns, substitute shortage is always a concern we have. We did hire a super sub this year, which has helped us tremendously, but we're still having, she's booked out pretty much for the year, and so we still have subs that we need on the emergency daily basis. And our special education needs, that's always an unknown need that we face every year, and what expenses that might bring. Hopefully now with the modular building, we're moving our music and art classrooms out there, which is freeing up more office spaces inside the school, which is helping with our special education needs. So that is all I have for the financial portion. Does anyone have any questions for me?
I had a question, and maybe this was 2 years ago, but the foundation, you were having some issues with that. How
So,
has that been remediated?
We had our second survey, and it didn't show any more significant shrinking, or what is it?
Movement.
Movement and shifting.
Yeah.
So that's good news. And when are we looking at that again?
Yeah, so we just had our third one, and it showed like the movement was minuscule. And so they recommended that we wait one more complete calendar year. So we will measure again this summer, so this coming July, and then they will be able to make a determination. But for right now, it looks like we're kind of out of the woods as far as the continued settling. And so that will mean we'll still have some repairs to do on the gym, but they'll be, pretty reasonable. They'll be like replacing some mortar and that sort of thing, and not putting in the pillars that we had discussed previously as a possible potential need. So right now the news is good. And we'll know more this time next year, exactly what our repair is going to be.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah. Nobody else for Ollie? All right. So for me, regarding our goals for last year, we had one goal that was a pretty large goal about engaging parents in their students' education, and it was just something that we felt like had been a long-time strength at PCCS, and kind of the COVID years made everything weird and difficult, right? And so it was an area where we felt like it was a good place to really work on improvement, and we made a lot of I think that we made a lot of significant improvement in that area. I discussed in here some of the different specific things that we did in there, but even that doesn't really paint a complete picture of all of the things that we did. And I think it helped improve parent satisfaction and helped improve the support students are receiving, and the relationship between parents and teachers to work as a team to better support kids. So I mean that was a really successful goal. I also mentioned in here that we didn't complete our back to basics goal, but I would also say that I don't expect. I'm not sure that we'll ever finish that back to basics goal. That back to basics goal is one where it is getting back to the basics of our model of education, right? The EL education model, which is a big, complicated model with lots of core practices, right? And so as we work on 2, 3, 4 of those core practices, some of the other things start to end up kind of slipping a little bit. But I do feel like we are making progress, and we are better. Again, kind of the COVID years, a lot of that went away. Our model of school became impossible during COVID, right? As did basically every model of school. But for us, it was really difficult. And so I feel like we're making progress. However, that goal, that is a goal where we're always just more. It's more about refining our core practices in our model of education. So anyway, so there's that. One thing I was going to talk about is that an exciting thing for last year is, last year was really kind of felt like we had turned the corner on test scores, right? And as much as I don't really like talking about test scores, but it just felt like they'd kind of been in the tank ever since COVID. And but like when we look at our test scores, we look at cohorts, right? So we want to know how well our fourth graders did compared to how they did as third graders the year before, right? So what percentage of them were proficient, basically both in math and reading, and then of course the IRI. And so when we looked at our cohorts of students, like 80% of our cohorts improved from the previous year, right? And then there was only like 2 cohorts who did worse, and they did very, very marginally worse, like 1 or 2%. So that felt felt like remarkable growth compared to what we had been used to in recent years. So, and I really attribute a lot of that to the engaging parents piece, the goal that we worked on so hard last year. And so that feels really good. That feels warm and fuzzy for sure. The other thing that we're excited about for this year is the modular building. And I know it sounds kind of weird to be excited about a modular building. However, space for art and music has been a long time goal. So when I got hired, it was a gym. We wanted a gym, right? And then since then, it's been space for music and art. Right now, currently, teachers push in, our art teacher and music teacher push into classrooms. And so like the 3 teachers meet, they do have their common planning time in one classroom. And then art and music meet in push into those classrooms. And then the library is the third rotation. And so, which is okay, but it's a big pain for them, right? And we have art supplies all over the school. We've got music supplies all over the school. And so this allows us to move all of that out there. And so that for the art teacher, the music teacher to have their own space, the art teacher can make as big a mess as she wants now. The music teacher can generally be as loud as she wants. And it's their space. Plus, Ollie alluded to the need for special education space. I'm sure you guys are experiencing the same thing, but the needs for special education are just becoming bigger and more profound every year. And so we just needed more special education space. So our PE teacher office is also moving into that modular building. So he's got a space in the middle, which helps protect sound from the music teacher getting to the art. But then his office is there, and then his office is now a new special education room inside the building, plus all of the storage space that's getting utilized by art and music. So it is actually kind of exciting. My thing is weird that we're doing it right now. We're in the middle of construction, but I tell you what, stuff they don't teach in principal school. It was like about getting approval to get the modular building in place and blah, 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 and it was a big fiasco. So we had every intention of getting it done over the summer, but it took until it was like August 24th or something like that when we finally got approval from the city. So, we decided
You're
it was
preaching to the choir here. We know construction.
So there you go. And I think those are the main things I was going to talk about, unless you have questions for me.
Just one quick question. When you talked about having to change, not doing the true EL core curriculum, does that change your charter at all? Or, is that? Well,
it really can't change the charter because we're still doing it. We're still doing it to the degree it's possible, right? We were still doing crew or morning meetings, but it's via Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Which is, Heather, that it. I don't know if everyone else knows, but there's every day in every class in PCCS, the teacher has what we call crew. Other schools do something similar called morning meeting, where every student is greeted and greets at least one other person. Typically, most of the time, it's all the other students in the classroom, right? There's an activity that's like a team building. It's kind of the same stuff that you do at like leadership conferences and whatnot, but it's team building sort of activities. And then often there's a reading. Most of the time there's a reading that's associated with something that we're doing, something that's important to us at the time. It might be a design principle or something curricular. There's a reading associated. But the whole idea is that you're building that class that as a crew. In fact, we don't even call our classes classes. We call them crews. We don't call our teachers teachers. We call them crew leaders, right? And so there's a lot that we do that's in service of building that class, that crew as a team that works functionally together, right? And so that we support each other, and we support each other in learning, we support each other emotionally, all that stuff, right? So those are important pieces about our school, which all of that becomes difficult, but we are doing it to the degree possible for the, So we're still trying to teach, we're still trying to do the thing, but it's really hard to run cooperative learning groups via Zoom, right?
Yeah.
So, and then on the days when, and so that really speaks to that first year, and then that second year when we were in hybrid, right? We're still very EL education on those 2 days that they're there. It's just, you're only there for 2 days, right? So anyways, yeah. So yeah, no, we haven't abandoned the model. It's just made everything difficult, right?
I guess where my question was leading is that you said you didn't necessarily go back to the original before COVID. And that was my question is, so where you are today, you're still able to,
Well, I mean, one thing I would say is about that is that, like, so we are still following the model as best we can, right? And so the other thing about the model, about the EL education model, is that EL education celebrates that all of our schools are very different, right? It's not like the model creates cookie cutters. You know what I mean? Part of that model is in itself designing what we do best. Like, so for instance, our school is an adventure. One of the big strengths of our school is our adventure program, right? So there are lots of EL education schools who have an adventure. In fact, all EL education schools have some sort of adventure component. But like if you're art-based, that adventure piece means going to museums or spending time in an artist studio, right? It doesn't involve going rock climbing, camping, right? Crossing snow, that sort of thing. So the school is intended to be its very own unique school, anyways, even within the model, right? So as far as we are very much striving back and working back towards being better at. So I guess that might be a better way to put it. We're striving towards being better at re-implementing or rethinking and the core practices, right? Getting back to the core practices, and what made PCSD great in the first place, I think, right? Yeah.
great, thank you.
I just was noticing how the free and reduced lunch has gone up every year, and your special education, is that 18% of your school?
Yeah,
Wow.
it is,
Wow.
right?
That's
It's high.
a lot.
It is high. Yeah, it is. It's
Oh, I'm really glad you have that space that you just acquired. That's great.
yeah, and it helps, but it's I'm on DAC. I'm the Special Education Directors Action Committee for the State Department of Education, right? And it was actually a topic of conversation just at our very last DAC meeting that special education numbers are growing. They're growing in the state pretty significantly, and then they're also growing even faster in charter schools. The why for that is, I think a debatable one, but and it's probably different at different cities and different charter schools and whatnot, right? But I think last I heard Blackfoot Charter School was 26%,
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm pals with Joel at Connor Academy, Alpine Academy, and both Jason from Gym Prep, and they're both recognizing big increases in special education numbers too. It's not just special education numbers, but it's the severity of disabilities, right? It's we put in. We'd never had an extended resource room, so one of the things that we did, part of this thing that we're talking about with the room, is we have an extended resource room now for the first time. So, because we needed one.
Wow, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you want to mention, I know last time, and I see it also noted here about becoming your own or having a different authorizer versus,
So it's something that we're still working on. We've run into we have tried to solicit some support in finalizing. We have a draft renewed charter that we would use to transfer to the commission. And so the support, the idea of that charter is it's supposed to be developed with the community involvement in mind and whatnot, right? And so just getting that, getting that final draft done and kind of signed off with something that everybody's happy with. But I have a draft that's I think is solid. I think is pretty good. But everybody else needs to think that too. Is a pretty important idea with the whole thing. But it is still our intention to go ahead and move. And I do think that this year, I think I said the same thing last year, but I do think that this year we'll get something submitted to the commission. And then, of course, we would need a letter from you guys saying that you're okay, that it has to be a three-way agreement, right? Between the commission, current authorizer, and the school to switch authorizers. So I know it's been a request of the district, and I definitely appreciate the district's patience in us getting that done. But yeah,
Things are happening.
things are happening. Stuff's happening.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions? for anybody? Thank you.
Right.
Appreciate you coming.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Head Start. Presented by Kathy.
Madam Chairwoman and all the rest of the trustees, Superintendent Howell, Ms. Johnson, thank you for allowing me to come today to talk about our annual Program Information Report. So you had that included in your packet. This refers to the 24-25 school year, so last year's. The PIR is primarily a statistical analysis of Head Start programs across the country. This report gets submitted to the Office of Head Start and then is shared with members of Congress so that they can see how Head Start is performing. What I want to do is just highlight some things that we saw improvements in or changes in our clientele, as well as to talk about some of the challenging areas that we still have, and then a little bit of time if you have any specific questions. All right, things that we were very happy with. As the school district, we have for a number of years not only monitored daily attendance, but looked at those children who had what you know as chronic attendance, so missing at least 2 days or more per month. When we looked at federal year, so going back before, 23, the percentage of children that were chronically absent was 65%. It was also a year when we were starting to see a huge increase in homeless families, kids in foster care, families who were very mobile, is how I will put it. So we had a much higher turnover of families, instability, and trying to get their kids to school on a regular basis was a challenge. Last year, our numbers still could be improved upon, but last year, 33%. So a huge, huge improvement, and it's attributed to the collaborative work between our family advocates, which are kind of like the CRWs, only even more so. Most of them are licensed social workers. They do case management. So they have a caseload of just 40 families that they work with and help them work on goals and meet with them regularly throughout the year. And then working alongside with the teachers, we all had the same message about the importance of having kids to school, even at preschool, because the statistics that you will see here, so that 65%, you will be seeing in a couple of years at the elementary school level. And they just worked really, really hard getting that message across. The advocates, we are charged to, at the end of 60 days from the start of school, analyze where families are at and those that are below. They put together an attendance plan for them and work really hard to help them with whatever challenges. So really happy with that one. Let's see. So this past year compared to the year before, our families were a little bit more stable. So our 93% of the families that enrolled in the program stayed through the whole year compared to the year before, which was 86. which makes it a lot easier for us to provide consistent education services when the kids aren't changing frequently. So that was a good thing that we saw. We are finding more children who are eligible for disability services. That's part of our role. However, those numbers continue to climb. So this past year, we had over 26% of our kids on an IEP. We are considered the gen ed classroom. They are pulled out to get their services, or sometimes they'll do a push-in. But otherwise, those children spend the majority of time in our classrooms with whatever disability that they have. And some of our classrooms, the kids are there for 6.5 hours a day. So that's a lot of work for our gen ed teachers, but we work collaboratively with the early intervention program. We are charged that 10% of our enrollment is to be for children with disabilities, so we've never had a problem of meeting that 10%, but we are concerned that the numbers continue. Speech is always number one. We're seeing more kids with developmental delays. We don't have all the different areas broken out at the preschool level, but we also are seeing a rise in children coming in with autism too. So those are some of the things. Other things that we had noted, we had more two-parent households in our school last year. So the number of single-parent males and single-parent females had increased. We had a lot more dads who were taking care of their children without a mother present. But we also saw more families gainfully employed. 82% of our families were working families. So that is rising as well. Probably the area that of concern, homelessness. We still have a number of families that are, so we had in last year 24 families, which impacted 28 children, which was up from the year before. Foster care last year, however, did decrease. We had 16 kids in foster care the previous year, and last year just 5. So things that we're seeing. Areas that we're wanting to work on, helping families. Health insurance is starting to become a concern for them. With more families working, they are making a little bit more income-wise. Not enough to really sustain them yet, but enough to put them over income for Medicaid. So we had quite a few families that were taken off of Medicaid for that reason. The other thing that we saw is trying to get children into a dentist if they are on Medicaid. There are many dental providers, pediatric dental providers, that will say, yes, we do accept Medicaid, but that may mean that they will accept one family, and so they've already met that. And it's been becoming more challenging locally for our kids to be able to get in to see a dentist. So those are some of the health issue things that we're seeing that we're going to want to see what we can help with this coming year. At this point, I will take questions for anyone.
Great explanation. I don't have any. Does anybody else have any questions? I mean, those are really positive things.
We're working really hard trying to get back to with the regular things that we do, given, when you talk about COVID, yes, it impacted our program tremendously. Right now, things are kind of interesting too when you see what's going on in Washington, but we are still here. We're still serving kids and families and doing the job we're charged to.
That's great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. All right, next on our agenda is a high school online program update presented by Sue Pettit. And is Cassie here?
Nope, she had an appointment she needed to be at, so.
Oh, okay.
And wanted to apologize for not getting this to you sooner, but the block ended yesterday, and we were waiting for grades to post so that we could get you up-to-date information, and so that's why you got it today. For first block, we had 53 learners, and they attempted 130 courses, earned 80 credits, which is about a 62% completion rate for our first block. We didn't think that was too bad. We've had discussions with the admin and with our school success coaches who are overseeing the back-end paperwork part of the online program, and what to do with those kids that attempted a class and didn't finish it. So currently, their grade is what they earned in it, and then they're put back into that class so they can continue it and get a grade for that class. So looking ahead to Block 2, enrollment increased to 63 currently, so about 10 more kids in our online program. And then second try, we're looking for even more. So it's in the middle of the try right now. It's hard to start a new program. So, but the feedback we've gotten has been really positive, and we're continuing to take feedback not only from teachers and admin, but from students and from parents, and I'm going to be working on that to even shore it up even more next summer. So, okay. Out-of-state and overnight travel exception requests. You will get next week a request for an exception to our overnight travel policy. And currently, overnight out-of-state policy limits to 2,500 miles round trip, no more than 1,000 miles one direction. My request to you is to discuss, or to, if you would like to discuss an interest in pursuing a policy change or approving some exceptions to the request. Some of the things that we've just been beating around with is that a program could request an extension to this policy once every 3 years, so that in their high school career, they could go on one long trip as opposed to 2 or 3 in a row. Long trips are expensive for our communities and for our families. And I know they do fundraising, but you and I both know that we have a lot of students who fundraising isn't really an option for. If I had my child come home and say, we got to do fundraising, I've got 15, 20 friends I can call and say, hey, my kid's doing fundraising. They all have the means to do that. If I lived in a poverty situation and I came home and said, my child's got to do some fundraising, your base of who you can call, most don't have that kind of money to be able to do that. So we don't want to tax our community, but we'd like to give our kids opportunities to be able to go on some of those longer trips periodically. And so it would take a change in our board policy. And included in your packet is the policy 8706. And so I'm requesting that the board, if they'd like to, have a discussion about maybe making some exceptions and being able to say, these are the exceptions and this is how they'll be worked, not just anybody who wants an exception gets one. So,
Yeah. I loved what you said. When I talked to you briefly earlier this week about, making sure that whatever we decide, it's going to be kind of a policy decision, so that no one school feels like, well, I was told no and that's not fair or anything like that. And so if we do adopt the once every 3 years, would they be able to fit within that?
for the one that you're going to see next week, yes, it would fit in that
Okay.
3 years.
I guess where I'm not opposed to putting some sort of those guardrails on. I guess it's just, some kids may not, well, let me step back. At least through my tenure so far, most of these kind of requests have come through the non-traditional, it's been the arts, the orchestra, or the choirs. We haven't had many
We have
sports. Well, and
several.
it's because we don't see them, so you're right. And that's just been my
Yep.
personal experience. And I think some of those opportunities, we are very limited, particularly, and I'm not suggesting we need a policy just for the arts, but I'm almost thinking is 2 years, I guess, if some kids don't really find their voice or their instrument, or is 3 years too long for some of these opportunities. And I guess the one thing, I hadn't even thought about putting those kind of guardrails up, but the thing that I had wanted to propose is that Anything over 250, or the 2,500, is that what it was? The 2,500, at least be brought to the board. Because I think in the two instances that I've been in, a part of, it's just that they were not even given an opportunity to make that request. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm looking for, is just, I'd like to see some more of those kinds of requests before just immediately shutting them down.
I guess you had mentioned every 4 years.
We started every four, and it,
Right, and then when we were just talking earlier this week, and I suggested every 3 because, maybe as a freshman, they weren't into a program yet, or whatever, and just so that they have one opportunity, potentially. But when you're talking about the arts, sports, drama, you really speech and debate, like it gets, I just think that allowing more than one, I think it makes them think. It's not that they can't go on tour, they just need to go somewhere closer. It's not really limiting them. It is in a way, but they can really think, put some more thought into it. Because I do think, for the reasons you said, this taxing on the kids, the parents, the budgets, the community, it's a lot of money for them to worry about. And that worries me with the kids that don't feel able in this. So they just kind of quietly just disappear. They just feel like, oh, this must not be for me. I don't fit in here because I just don't have this. And I don't want kids to feel that way. I want them to feel like, that we're going to make it happen, but it's not so often that it's completely out of reach. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts? Any other thoughts?
I agree with all that.
the other thing you could look at for the policy is setting a limit on how much it can cost a child. I'm just throwing out ideas. I don't,
Yeah,
it is
I mean,
very
that-
hard.
That's so hard to do. Maybe, yeah.
Because when they're talking about flying places and staying in places like New York and Texas, the plane tickets are always expensive to Texas. I think it would be a good idea, but I also don't want that to be like, oh, we have all the way up till here. Like, I don't want to encourage them to spend that much, but, I don't know. But I think the one suggestion that I was thinking would be good also is they need to have a complete itinerary, and they need to have the costs figured out, including airfare and every gas and everything, before it's presented. Because if it's just like, well, we don't know what the plane tickets cost, well, that's pretty big.
The other thing our policy doesn't include, and I would suggest you look at, is to say it needs to stay within the continental United States.
Oh.
We have several groups that have requested to go out of the country and have been told no based on 1,000 miles, but
I would
It's-
agree with
that,
that.
and I said, and it can, I'm just throwing out ideas that have been,
So now you're throwing.
yeah.
I mean, when I went to high school, we French club, we went to Paris. And yeah, it's not for everybody.
But was it like an outside organization, or was it the actual
It was our class, and you could either choose to go or not go. And obviously, there was a lot of sour because not everybody could go. I don't know.
And like I said, this is an absolute, I am just throwing
I think it's
out,
just something.
I know.
so.
I don't want to open a can of worms, but I also feel like, our world has become much smaller. And I think an important part of an education is seeing the world firsthand. And whether it's Austin, Texas, or Paris, France, I think our kids and parents are resilient and also reasonable to find those opportunities that make sense. I guess I'm curious. I know we have this fund that is used for activity fees. If a child can't, and I'm not suggesting that that's, we're going to fund all these trips through that, but it seems like, aren't there other, I don't know if anyone else has an opinion on this, but.
The foundation is there, but also. I don't know
Ed
what-
Foundation is pretty much, it's Ed Foundation and fundraising.
Right.
Because all those activity fees pay for busing and referees and they get eaten up every year.
Sure, sure. I don't know. I'm of the opinion that we shouldn't be stifling it, just,
But then you get
Regulating it.
passports and that kind of stuff involved too.
Didn't we approve a travel to Canada last?
You did. Yep.
Yeah.
And did they need passports for that?
They
They
needed day,
So not an
they're not an
actual-
actual passport, but they needed a day pass, and I don't remember what it's called, but
There's
there's.
kind of a little
it's
visa thing.
Mhm.
Also, I was wondering, what's the chances, I mean, we get sponsors for our sports all the time, for football fields and stuff. What's the chances of getting sponsors for some of these, I mean, big trips like that?
We can look into it, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You know, we get a lot of money for sports, and I think these other things are every bit as important.
Mhm.
And also, I know that, I guess, we did go to Canada, and that's within the 1,000.
It was in, yeah,
So,
yep.
but you do have to have a passport now to get into Canada. I remember when my daughter was in high school, we went with the choir to Ontario, or Alberta, it was Alberta anyway. And of course, we didn't have to have passports, but I had to have something anyway.
I mean, I think
that-
another parameter that would be important is that it needs to be, plenty of time. Once a year you come forward with your, it's not all these trips just being,
They're supposed to have them in by October, so that
Okay.
they can, so that's part of in that policy also. Like I said, I'm happy either way, we just,
I mean.
you guys need to have a discussion about it, about.
Yeah, I mean,
stuff, so.
I like the idea of don't bring stuff unless, it's just once every 3 years. To me, I think that's a good idea. If the kids all know that, like, this is your only chance, so, they, it's just a big ask. But they can always, if they don't get the answer they want, I think it says in the policy they can still go to the board, doesn't it? Like, no matter what? Or is that not part of that?
Yes,
oh, does it?
yeah, the tour group may request the school board declare it as
I think some found their
extraordinary.
way to the board,
Yeah.
Yep, regardless.
So that's already there.
It's already happening.
It's already in the policy, so I would be fine with not changing that part of the policy, because I would really hate to have all these trips that we have to say no to.
Mhm.
Because if we had some guidelines, don't even ask. Plan ahead once every 3 years and that kind of thing. I don't know.
The exception is for absences only. The tour group may request the school board declare the tour as extraordinary in regards to absence if school is to be missed by students.
Mhm. And this one it is.
So not, no, this one they would miss only the 3 days that they can miss.
Oh,
This one is just mileage.
okay. But it is,
So.
but they are missing 3 days of school.
Mhm.
Okay,
And that's part of this policy also,
okay.
so.
Any other guidelines that you guys, or any other changes that?
So I would like, I guess we're not doing an action, but my opinion, I would like to see anything over 3,000 comes to the board. Or 2,500.
Well, it's 1,000 miles the policy right now is 1,000 miles one way, no more than 2,500 for the whole trip. So
Oh, I
once you
see.
get there,
You have 500 miles.
you have 500 miles to play around with, but no more than 1,000 miles from here.
And if you just
Oh.
get on I-80, how far can you go?
How far can you get?
You can go pretty far.
You can get to
Yep.
Southern California, you can get to northern Texas,
Nebraska,
mhm.
I mean, that's
Denver.
halfway across the United States.
So maybe it's 2,500 one way comes to the board.
Maybe 1,500. I don't know, I'm not really comfortable jumping that. I don't know. I would.
Well,
wanna
I'm trying to
know.
minimize the number, right? If it's over that,
we
then
see.
it won't be that many that come to us, because it'll be those
Right.
real,
It just puts then that pressure on the families is my concern, so.
but, they have the choice whether to go or not. It's not a mandatory thing. And then I guess my only thing is I would like to see at least 2 as opposed to 3. Because depending, again, how, a freshman has no clue what they're doing, no more than 2. But then you're talking about, do you do one with orchestra, and then you're doing one with choir, and
Well,
then you're
and-
doing one with
And it's
football?
only fair that every organization has the same rule.
Right, but I'm saying,
And
but
so
does it,
that's why
is
it
it
could
across
really
the
get
board,
out
you
of.
get two regardless?
Yeah, that's why I was thinking, I'm more comfortable with 3 personally, but you guys say whatever you want, because, I mean, my kids were involved in a lot of different things, and so they could potentially be doing several
In the same year.
in the same year even, yeah. And so it can get,
I prefer the 3 as well. I think that just sits better with the flowing through high school.
because if they're freshmen and that's the year they do it, and they're not involved and they don't really know about it, they have another chance as a senior.
So let's take this current trip, I mean, I'm just trying to come up with the scenarios. So this current trip, if it's comprised of all 4 years of school, 4 years of the kids. So if a senior that's part of the choir has already done one as a freshman, they don't go. Is that how?
No, it's 3
that
years for
what
the
we're-
The organization.
organization. It's not per person, it's for the
Oh,
organization.
so I thought it was per person.
I know, I would like it to be the organization, but if you would
Which would
like,
be way easier to track
yeah,
as well.
Because-
Okay, so that's what I'm totally confusing it. I thought you was by student. The student only gets to go every 3 years, which means once in their high school career. Is this?
no, I would just say the organization, but,
Oh, I see.
Whatever
Okay,
you
I gotta
wanna
think
do.
about that more. Change my mind.
because if they're in orchestra and, track and, I mean, what are likely things? Debate? I mean, that's very likely that the 3 of them could travel somewhere.
So the other thing that then comes up, though, is that, so in the 2 instances that I've been involved with, it's been an invitation by an event that happens only so often, or,
Neither one of these.
the
are
Carnegie Hall.
The
one
Carnegie
is-
Hall one. So the Carnegie Hall, they had to send in an audition tape, and it had to be accepted for them to be invited to go to Carnegie Hall. This particular one in Texas, it's every year, and they did not have enough, my understanding is they did not have enough choirs to fill their slots, so they went looking for people
Oh,
and
went
called-
further out.
and called people who had attended Carnegie or this one before and said, hey, would you be interested in coming?
So really, it's
So
kind
there
of
was no
more,
audition to get to this particular one?
it's really more of a money-making thing for the host
That's my understanding, yes.
type of thing. It's probably like a fundraiser for them.
Pays their business.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
which,
want people
you
to
know,
come,
and that's
then
okay.
they have to,
I was
then
gonna
they
say,
get to charge.
that doesn't make it a bad thing.
No, I think it sounds like a good opportunity. But,
So is that, I'm trying to remember, is that in the policy that it has to be a competition or a?
No,
'cause
not
didn't
for
we
the
have
1,000
this
miles.
come up also with some cheerleaders that the younger ones weren't allowed to go, but the older ones did? I mean,
That, yeah, so for
to
the,
go to a higher
Yeah,
competition.
it was varsity
it was
team.
varsity team, yeah. So they won state, which got them invited to a national.
okay.
But the JV girls weren't.
Because they would have another opportunity
Mhm.
For
later.
later.
Yep.
Right.
Because they were upper class.
Yep.
Sure.
When,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I mean, now that I understand what you were saying about 2 or 3, yeah.
So,
fine with
is there any other comments, or should we move on to the next?
Okay, so
Do you
we'll
have
write it
enough?
up
Yeah.
as
I say, do you have enough notes for
3
yours?
and bring that to the board next week?
Yep.
For a
Yes, I'll
first
make
Do you want
reading.
to just do it as 3, or do you want to do an option for 2 and an option for 3?
I mean, I do know because they're going to come next week. It's because they're wanting, I mean, they've been holding off on
Right.
fundraising.
Yep.
And so we will have to decide at least on that trip.
Yes.
And then the policy would be separate.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
The policy could be first reading
Yeah.
next
Yep.
Okay.
week,
Yep.
if we agree. If
That we
we,
would bring both.
yeah, you could, yeah.
Okay,
And if
so
there's
you have
any
enough
other
that you
things
need?
that you think of. Okay.
So is everyone on the same page about 3, or?
I'm with 3. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
thanks. Thank you, Sue. Okay, so, and then the next on the agenda is revising policy 7318, use of social media. Brenda?
Good evening.
Evening? Oh, gosh, I think it is. Afternoon. This is policy 7318, use of social media, and the last time that this was revised was back in 2015. So we've brought this to you to take a look at for first reading next week. And you can tell if you look at, if you compare it to our current policy and this policy, and so you can have an opportunity to look at that and see what those changes would be.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you. I think it really is nice it's really more detailed, more description. I think, I like that.
It's pretty relevant to today.
And it
Yeah,
is very
that's
relevant
exactly.
today. And I think that these things can be,
Okay, great, thank you.
thank you. Okay, capital improvements projects presented by Jonathan Balls. Thank you.
Good afternoon, board members. I'll see if I can pull this up here. Again, just a little slideshow of some of the before and after pictures. Just as a reminder, as we're wrapping up. Yeah, you could have it on your screen there.
Yeah,
Just a reminder, we're starting, the board will get an update on next year's SIP, how that's going even next week. And as a reminder for Madam Chair and Mr. Knopf, we have our first SIP meeting on Thursday afternoon. And we'll start talking about our look at our needs and our projects for next year. So, but without further ado, we'll kind of go through this, just a little PDF, again, a handful of selected projects. We do some VCT replacements throughout. This is kind of the before, really during, you can see is a little bit underneath there. Here's the completed project in one of the rooms there. This is one that wasn't a major project, but it kind of, that south-facing concrete in front of Century needed to be redone. As you can see, that's during the process, and that's the final project there.
looks really nice.
At Century, correct. The other one is the new tennis courts at Century. Again, the demo of that with the base, and the base did have to be worked quite extensively as we had some moisture in the base, but the end product was right here. Is really nice. 6 courts for that for tennis and that side of town as well.
So, and is that a new fence and everything too?
So that is a new fence as well.
Okay.
Correct.
Because it looked like the
Yep.
fence was gone.
It was, yep. So it's just, to be able to demo it just, we were gonna disturb that concrete base so much, it just needed to be a solid structure, so that is a new fencing system.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a bendy fence put
No,
back up.
no, it's a
It
good
looks very
fence.
nice.
Yeah.
We don't have lights out there, do we?
We do not have lights at any of our facilities. The city of Pocatello installed lights for the 4 courts close to Pocatello High School. Those are the only lights and those are actually owned and paid for by the city.
Gotcha.
Okay. The next one is kind of a new adventure. We realize, again, we appreciate all the PTOs and PTAs that have donated for playground equipment. This started really with the safety of taking out all of the railroad ties that normally keep the fall material in, and then also, really updating to some safe playground equipment. So this is Eda Howe, getting new fall material there during, and this is a completed one. There's even more equipment to the left off the picture there. And again, at Eda Howe, this is a new roof. This is the new roofing system that they are installing there, and a completed project. We needed to put the Franklin track, again, needed the new base as well as new surface coat. Again, this is during getting leveled and getting firm up there. This is the final project. It's kind of a weird angle there, but try to get you see the painted lines, the 200 markings on the far right-hand side there as well.
Were those bleachers always there?
They have been.
Were they?
Yeah.
Not always.
Yeah. This is another one that's.
Wooden one. I was
Yeah,
there.
yeah. This is a small one, but we wanted to put in there, and again, we'll discuss this in SIP, if this is kind of an ongoing, several schools built in those early 80s, they put carpet on the walls.
Black carpet?
Yep, it's kind of
Probably
the
a darker.
darker
green
green,
color.
correct, yeah, probably darker green. Definitely dark from the picture.
When I saw this picture, I remember a few years back, there was water leaking in the walls at Gate City. Are these the walls? Are these interior walls?
These are interior
Interior,
classroom
so
walls.
These would be the ones
Eh,
that would have that problem with the, where they have the earth that comes up.
Correct. Yeah, I
close to
know.
the window.
I don't believe these are the ones that have that, and I will tell you that the part of the cost of this is basically, once you take off that carpet, we don't know what it was. It was some orange glue, that had to be removed. Obviously, if there's any asbestos, has to be removed and so forth. So if there was any damage, it definitely would have been repaired. But there's kind of the same classroom, just with the white wall
How
there.
many classrooms did you end up having to do?
And literally this
Oh, just-
one.
Just
Yeah,
trying
we
out
wanted to
how
see
much it's
how,
gonna cost.
but it's, this would be several year, might even have to have it kind of outsourced, just because there's so many classrooms and so many different elementary schools. However, it's probably one that we just need to start biting off,
Right.
biting off a little bit at a time there. So just kind of wanted to show that one in there. And
Is there a possibility, I know I'm not a builder, but is there a possibility of just framing over the top of that carpet and just doing more drywall? And is that cheaper? Or, I mean,
So, I appreciate,
Square
we can look at anything there. Obviously, you're losing a little bit of square footage. It will probably cost more because we have to extend it. If there's any electrical, as you see, there's a
Oh,
TV
you'd
there.
have to
You'd have to extend the
hold all
electrical,
that.
anything of that
Because I
nature.
just wonder, because
like
we have
wallpaper,
so
paint
many.
over it.
Yeah.
We just have so many. And
We
I
do
mean,
have a lot.
Even like shiplap and like if there, I just don't even know like if there's anything.
Sure.
That would
And-
be cheaper.
And
than
every
pulling
wall
it
is
down.
going to be unique. So I'm not saying that might not be out of the realm of possibility if there wasn't, or very minimal electricity. Or obviously, there's some walls with,
Because you just bring the box out, but.
correct.
I mean, you wouldn't redo.
I mean, as long as the wires are long enough, to extend the utility box, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure, we can definitely
Anyway, just
look
a
at
thought,
that.
just because of how many.
Yes, it is it's a large number.
What's that?
Really brightened up that room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes it a brighter room.
This one I wanted to include, again, if you haven't been the front side of Green Acres, again, we had new sidewalk and a parking lot. Again, thanks to the City of Pocatello and the LTAC is how you say that, Local Highway Technical Assistant Committee, I believe, or council, that C is a council. But the city got a $250,000 grant that did a lot of the road and the infrastructure around it, but that did provide opportunity for us to look at a parking lot and a better entrance, a smaller sidewalk, so we could put in more, at least have a safer place there. And I think it's working okay. It's taking, obviously it takes a little time to get used to that newer traffic flow, but I think it's a good one. It was a good project with the City of Pocatello, with their engineering department and so forth. This one is at the Hawthorne Middle School, their carpet. Obviously, this is the old, it had been ripped up. And then this is the new carpet. If you're able to zoom in there, you'll actually see little green streaks through that carpet and kind of, school color. Brian Glenn actually helped kind of realize that's a possibility. And so that's just the fun thing. Again, these are not rolls, these are squares. And so that way, if we have a stain, we can just pull up that square.
I have a question then, after having visited Highland and where they were doing some of the new floor, I mean, what is the decision between doing this or doing that tile?
Good.
Carpeting, I mean, is it,
Excellent.
middle school is less hard on carpets? Is that what you?
This
I
is
would
the
say this is the
This
library.
is
Oh.
the center.
Yeah, so this is the library. Yeah, I didn't say that, sorry, but yeah, this is the library. So I'd have something to do with
Make
that.
it quieter. I
So,
see.
and in the Alameda picture, it was VCT.
Correct, yeah, that very first
Okay,
one.
the
yeah, that
classroom.
makes sense.
So, yeah, I think it is the classroom it is there. Okay, this is, the next one, again, this will come with this, from the SIP, and, you know, the board will weigh in on that as well, on the restrooms at Hawthorne. So this is kind of during, again, complete gut, had to change all the plumbing as well, and is the overhead and at the main level there. But that is kind of what that's what the end product looks like. So again, no doors on the exterior of the bathroom, but each of the water closets, if you will, have doors and privacy, individual smoke detectors, sprinkler alarms, or sprinkler heads, and so forth.
So are there
Actually, not
cameras?
him.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
So, yeah.
Are the cameras
There are. Yep.
facing just into this room?
Almost like it's pretty close to how you see that picture.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Oh,
And they
in
said
the
it's.
hallway, out in the hallway, and then it just faces in.
Correct, faces in there. I will say, and again, we can have more testimony on that, what I've heard is it's minimized, almost eliminated any of the shenanigans that happen in that bathroom. Challenges, they just went upstairs. And so,
Did they have destruction of the, like the sinks or the soap dispensers or things like that?
you mean
Previously.
vandalism? Oh, yeah, they
Okay,
had
and so
everything.
now that area can be observed?
Exactly, observing stops it.
Great.
Just because if you watch people, then they normally will not do that.
We had a letter about Highlands bathrooms, so
Yep, and we'll,
maybe a tour of both would be good.
sure,
See, like,
absolutely.
what's the problem?
Yeah, what's
What's the
the
difference?
difference? And it is, and that's why we've talked about it, is just, that is a point of congregation where, again, some shenanigans, vandalism takes place.
And in these, it involved HVAC, electrical.
Correct, all disciplines. Yeah,
everything.
we even had to have
Because-
this architect as well.
Because I was thinking we could do it another way, where, there's an opening at the very top, an opening at the very bottom, so we don't have to do HVAC and the fire alarms and the ventilation in every single
Yeah, I
one.
was actually surprised. This is not at all what I envisioned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, this is like little rooms,
It is Little Room.
fully and contained
And they have their
rooms.
own fire alarms, their own
Yeah.
electrical.
Yeah,
And it all
like
goes.
all ventilation and
That's
so
why it
forth.
was almost a half a,
I wrote that number down, yeah, 358,000.
yeah,
Yeah, 350.
like,
Because I
So-
think that's what I was envisioning. It was more,
It's
basically the stall, but all the way
Sure.
yeah, the
up and
panels.
down.
And that's what I would be more,
So the
I would
challenge
be
is,
more too, because
know-
it's so much cheaper.
and it is, and that's the trade-off, then, okay, do I still have the phone that can slip underneath and take a picture, or, or could we put cameras in there if I can see my black shoes at the bottom there? And so, I mean, we can discuss that, sure. I mean, this was
like
100%.
full-blown door and.
It is.
Yeah,
It was.
yeah,
Yep.
It's a water closet.
It's a true water
True.
closet.
And we
It's
wanted to
own-
see,
it's its
even
own
for the
room. They
price,
Get their own fire.
we wanted to see what the all-in, 100%,
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
would look like. But sure, we could definitely talk about that, because it would be a little bit less effective, less expensive, to do some of those things. Does it still
a lot
achieve
less
what we want to do? So that.
So is this the only one in that building? They didn't do the boys' room? They just?
Oh, no, sorry, yeah, boys and girls.
Okay.
So this is the main
Oh,
level.
I was thinking it
This
was
is-
only one, okay.
No,
One
boys,
floor.
one floor, that's what
Okay.
one floor, boys and girls.
Because even with those panels, you could still do the cameras and, I mean,
Yeah, but
We'd have
it's not
to-
like all this space, it's
Right.
just a very small, and then the one that's up above, they wouldn't be able to reach that.
And,
It's standing on
and
the
we'd have to
toilet.
see, we'd get with our HVAC specialist, Mr. Glenn,
And
obviously.
also go facing out toward the mirrors, that's not into another stall. And so those could be normal,
Okay,
because it's not,
Sure.
you're not next to each other. I mean, things can happen still, but you would.
we
be able
can,
to
we
be
can, we
aware.
can definitely look at that. Again, I don't know for HVAC how much space you need, for intake and, outtake there for HVAC.
have
but-
level doors, like
Yeah.
at the hotels.
Yeah,
Yeah, now
So-
this makes a lot more sense as to why it was as expensive as it was.
sure.
So-
And again, if you ever over to Hawthorne, you can definitely pop in.
Yeah, I would
Looking-
like to do a school visit over there, so just.
That's great.
FYI.
We definitely encourage that. We appreciate you getting in our schools.
This is how the Highland new bathrooms.
That is
will
correct.
look, right?
In the, next to the gymnasium.
Yeah.
Correct. Not the auditorium ones.
Okay.
Are the auditorium ones the panels, but the longer, bigger panels? Or are they just standard panels?
I don't know if we've actually, I can find that out. I
Okay.
don't know if we
I just
have
wondered
chosen
what
those
was
quite yet.
In the bid.
But they won't be these individual rooms.
Water.
Because the ones at the auditorium are not generally open. They will
Correct.
only be
That
open
is
during
correct.
events.
During
So
events.
it's not a school-use
Yes.
bathroom.
That's what we plan on.
Interesting. Okay.
So again, we'll pick up that topic there. Speaking of Highland, again, it won't be, SIP projects won't be complete without looking at, again, I tried to choose the same angle, so this is June 2nd with our good drone from our communications department, Cami Chopsky, the great drone driver here, and get that picture in June. And then here's the one, 4 months later, and kind of can see the gym and locker
that's
room
the
taking shape.
Interior walls, right? And then the
Correct.
exterior are going to be built out where the track and
That is
the
correct.
other, okay.
That is correct. Yes, yeah, these are interior. Again, it's not very exciting, but we do pride ourselves that we don't shut down schools because our boilers are old and not functioning. So again, Indian Hills received a new HVAC and boiler system, and that second picture is those are the gray ones. Those are the boilers that heat the entire school. So, next one is, again, this is during that, just the new asphalt parking lot at Syringa. Again, obviously with things painted on there, we appreciate it. Volunteers that, community volunteers that painted that United States map there for the students.
And what was it who donated the rest of the paint? Didn't somebody,
Yeah, it was in the
All the
newspaper.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Was it
leadership.
Change-
over time.
yeah,
Oh,
leadership
okay.
From the,
Oh,
from the
okay.
chamber, yep, they did some of that work there.
Yeah, because we just went there, Megan and I did
Yeah.
our school visit there, and it's really so nice.
It is, it is. Again, another playground remodel again from Taihi. You can see all the fall material, digging it out. It's now up to standard code there. And so we anticipate that we'll be able to keep doing, 2 or 3 elementary playgrounds a year. And there's the completer
So-
project.
You said that you took out the railroad ties to keep all the stuff in. What do you put in place of it?
So it's if you can zoom in, I think it's a rubber. It's just like a rubber cove, I believe. Just something that's not so what do you say, hurtful, or it's safer if you were to fall on it. So it's like a rubber base, a rubber coving.
Yeah. It's funny because you can still
Well, I
trip.
can see that it looks like a 4x4 to me, so.
I would think that the worst thing is tripping on it.
Sure.
And so
Yeah,
it looks-
yeah. There's.
But,
But yeah, that we do have some sort of. Yeah, it does look a little thicker there, but it is the up to code safety that to keep in that fall material.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And again, this is once every year we pick an elementary school or a school and update their lighting. Again, this is the older lighting. This is the first time this has been in this project or this presentation, so it's kind of good. Again, you'll notice the background wall there. Exhibit 300. Yeah.
So is that going to LEDs?
Correct. Yep. So much brighter.
and you can choose warm or cool.
Correct.
right?
Yeah. These are dimmable. These just give us a lot of good options there. Again, because of this, obviously we're saving money, hundreds of dollars, even $1,000 every month. But then we will get close to. It should be over $40,000 that we actually will get back from the
rebate?
Of the rebate from
That's great.
Idaho Power. So, again, just wanted to throw out some other things. Alameda, the front ADA ramp to get in the school need to be rebuilt. Those century-old computer rooms that had the tiers, we just took out the tiers, and so it's just one regular room there. Ellis had fencing That was from our new principal that kind of thought that might be a danger during high water or during runoffs. So we put a fence around that. New Franklin new fire panel, new detectors, voice activated, or voice detection to exit the building. Also in Green Acres, the back side of the kitchen ramp, also at Seringa there at the end. Jefferson received a new paint job interior, and then Lincoln also had a new roof. So again, I put in big thank you to all of our maintenance operations, but even at the start of school, transportation, redoing the routes, food service, getting everything ready for our learners to start back with school.
It's a lot.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jonathan.
So do we post these publicly somewhere on our website? Is it stuff that people?
So obviously, I mean, the board meeting is public,
Yeah.
In the
but-
assembly, maybe, is there a place that we can make it,
but we could,
like, kind of, I was just hoping, but like what we talked about with the budget, you know, this is the whole budget, the whole maintenance, this is the whole, you know, but then, and then have examples of these are some of the projects. Not
I think
every
easy.
project, but, you know, obviously, but
we have a great web
the major projects. to
Well, and plus
give
some of the
everybody-
feedback is that all of the money goes to Highland, all we're doing is
Correct,
Highland.
and that's
That is-
why I
You know,
put
showing
the
how much-
elementary in
Well,
here.
of course, but,
Yeah.
you know, showcasing, here's all that's happening in elementary
Yeah.
schools and.
I think that's great. And I think we'd even do have a section, that we talk about facilities, definitely, we can put that in there.
In the- Oh, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Next is the proposed ISBA resolutions by Dr. Howell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So in your packet today are, I think originally there were 16 resolutions. 3 of those have been withdrawn, 10, 11, and 12. We could take the time to go through them, or what I've done also is I sent you a link today in your email. And Quinn Perry from Idaho School Boards Association did a really nice job reviewing each of these for the group. And so we could do it that way. There are 3 of these resolutions that have no recommendation, so it's likely they're going to come with a lot of discussion when we get to convention. Some of the others are pretty much, in my opinion, very much a go. We need to support, some special education. We need to support the no more vouchers. But again, however you would like to do it, we can certainly discuss it when we get to convention, or if you have some thoughts now that you'd like to ask, or some questions about a specific resolution, I'm happy to answer them.
Now that you said that about Quinn Perry, I would like everyone just to agree and promise that they will just watch that, because I don't want to take the time to do that. Because I had some questions about like the Resolution 8 to exclude non-residents from capital gains exception, that kind of stuff. But I don't really want to, if I want to watch that first.
Okay.
And that might answer my question. So if
Okay.
that's okay with everyone, so we don't have to make this a lot longer.
Yeah, that's okay with me.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's really good. I think it's about 50 minutes, and the first 10 minutes is a review of the process at convention, and then the last 10 minutes, I got to admit, I don't remember what that is, because the meat of the resolutions are right in the middle. So if you forward about the first 10 minutes, you'll be right into Resolution 1 and be able to pick it up from there.
And some we already know, so,
Yes, the last 3 are actually 2023 or even earlier resolutions that have not been acted upon. And so 14, 15, and 16 already carried a due pass, but they're brought back to the body in order to continue to carry them forward, because others were prioritized ahead of these. But I think those 3 are still important.
I don't see 15 here. You said 10, 11, and 12 were removed, but I don't see 15.
It's on the side of 14.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I was wondering, did, during our training, they talked about this new thing that Quinn is doing with board member advocates, or to participate in, do you remember what that was called? I don't know if you were there yet. Remember when, I didn't keep the flyer. But anyway, I didn't know if she reached out to you, or maybe you weren't there at the time, but do you remember, Jim? There was something where they were trying to get.
legislative advocates?
Yeah.
Is that what it was, or
yeah,
was it
to be
something?
more involved. Do you remember that?
We could shoot her an email and ask
Yeah.
her about it.
Okay, yeah.
And I mean, I think
So-
you do it, but I think she's trying to pull in more board members. And, you know, I would love to do it.
Okay,
I just need to wait, see what happens in November before I stick my neck out.
okay.
but-
And we will have our legislative meeting. In fact, that's on next week's agenda, where we'll talk about topics, and we're looking at December 1st or December 15th. So that seems to be what may work for their schedules.
Yep.
According to Senator Ruckty. Yep.
Okay.
So the next is assembly overview.
So I'll just go through this really quickly. On Assembly, they have training modules, but rather than have everybody go in and watch this training module, I just thought it'd be easier to kind of screenshot each of these critical elements. So this is just basically an overview of what it will look like when you get that invitation email. And it shows you how to set up your user ID and your password. And I would like to invite anybody that needs help with that to just come in and see me tomorrow, and we can get you set up. If you're comfortable doing it on your own, great. If it's something that you want to, get it done on your laptop, I can do the shortcuts and get that going. And then as far as how the meeting's going to look, it just shows a picture of the home screen, so you can see all those tabs at the top. That is kind of like the About Us, where to find the meetings. There's a policy tabs, a communication tab. So that would be the communication tab. Probably some of those key projects or key budget things that you guys want to highlight would go into that communication or the documents tab. This doesn't go too much into those. It's more to get us started. We'll just go into the meetings piece. So it shows you where to find your meetings, and it would show a list, and you just click into it the same way that you do with board docs. And then the agenda is just a little sample briefly of how that looks at the start. When you click on a topic, you can review kind of in the same fashion that we have in board docs. There's that explanation area and then all the attachments. It looks very similar in Assembly. I think one of the kind of functional or more convenient things is that they do have an arrow on there, so you can just tab through, just go to the next one, so you're not constantly having to go over to that left and click through.
Which slide are you on?
The slide is right after it shows the meeting list. There's a sample agenda.
So you're on 6?
Page 6.
Yes.
Okay.
So on page 6, that sample agenda, if you just click on any one of those topics, you can just tab through. There's an arrow on the screen, and I don't know if it's showing on your, oh, it does.
No, I do
On
think it
slide number 9, there's, it shows that you can go to that left agenda list, but then at the top where it shows that sample where it says personnel items, there's an arrow just to the right of that, and in the actual platform, you can just scroll through that way. So it would just go to the next tab, as you're going through. So it's a little bit easier to navigate as you're in a meeting.
So you can do either one?
Yes.
You can scroll through it
Yep.
this way, or you can scroll through it on the left?
Yep.
Okay.
And if you don't want to use the column on the left, you can collapse that column and just make a bigger screen and just tab through it so that you can see everything a little bit easier.
So I don't have to open 20 things.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then I lose track of which tab is.
So then is it going to be installed on these laptops here?
Yeah, because it's just a web-based platform, so it would be the same kind of thing.
Oh.
You just get up your, Google.
We
Right.
can access at home and
Yeah.
and go through all.
Yes, and I don't think that Board Docs ever had this option, but on Assembly, they do have an option for a phone application. So you can just use that QR code that's on the agenda and get right in and have the meeting up on your phone, especially for people that are participating from the crowd. We don't have to, we still will print our paper copies, but not as necessary for people that have those smartphones. So, yes, so anyway, tomorrow, if you would like to get started, I can just meet with you and get that all set up, send you the invitation link
Are you
after
loving
this. Yeah, so far it has been a breeze.
You're the main user, so I would make sure
Yes,
you're loving
so
it.
I'm comfortable enough now that I am ready to send out invites tomorrow and get going. If you guys review it and like what you see and want to get started on Tuesday, I've got the agenda ready to go. If not, we can go board docs one more time and go from there. So depending on your comfortability.
So you're going to send us an invitation, and at home we can work through it in the introduction.
Yes,
If we have any
and if
problems.
you have any problems, call me and we'll get you over here and
Great.
set up.
Exciting.
Okay. That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Are there any other things that we need to discuss? If not, I would, and is there a motion to adjourn?
I move
I
we
move that we
adjourn.
adjourn.
Is there a
Second.
second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We